for Madaworoma. Yadi and Chianam Obosu TV so Edema will be Bia and so body Adaworoma. Oh, ya mambo inyana yada sotiase. Aja video trending and saying so na yenso yepese yetimi pone ehun bibi kakra anase nya emu bi na yene yahwefo so ede eche na yenso yetimi etutu ya brabo ene ya adwene ho adentia yehwe yenya ya man Ghana mu a sade doctors no ne yanka ne say hospital system mu no yenim sanka obia wonti apo uko hospital kwa japo mudene ena nkeja wodi abefie nanso sese de ante saa na yentimi nhunu se eye doctors no binum ni pabonesam wo senso aban no ena eniema mu wonfa ngugu akwa mu ma yeniu yentimi nhunu enti wodi menye num fufuo ne ho kwan yenyina yemfa ye ne nkonkwohwa wo batan a wanyinse bosome nkona wo ne ba na abofra ne yare ode ne ko hospital ma doctors di tube eto akola yi emu fanse free ni hwene mu kosi ne yam wo mu nani mo adwuma wo ye de eno de yen complain about it na afi baako bibia amfi mu amba obatan na ntimi enyeska antua ma doctors na mo manfa anya akola ne surgery ama abafra no wafri ne nsa mumiemu ani enkonkohwe na ewia yato aso
ewa ifri ho na nke ohia se eye surgery ma no enam abo hia ekum abo kototo anwepese so adokora busuenti surgery na ntimi amaso amesisi am no kasei akora na wu ebra ekopie maami owo akora efie e obrema kontenase a wo free access wo gbo amane no kurani na dani sun ene areho maami Abraham nsima ne adom kase nkomo bomu no woto aso se ebra ya ade no bo no ba no ma o Lady of Grace Hospital wo brema sukuma arofa no kokolibu teaching hospital won kran no wotwala kwan saa afimua a doctors e ho no entimi amaditi a wo de be se gira ma akora no ma no ho ato no wo kire se wonni binti ena ba saa afiri se sisika wo no ho a anka amasa
kolobu omo edimi abolo pa ko be so omo di tupu na to me ba no hu for 1 year de bia me ba wo sisi na mi nko hu doctor mu skin tua de omba kire bia kola keto ko mo chola abo mana ye ko 3 million basa lolfe ye truko ye trubasa doctors no mo wo kolobu na omo ji estadadi so mo be ni surgeon no estadadi we afimu na me nka hwe nchiro mo ya mekani omo aji akwala no so mo be ye no a omo ma twa kwan for 1 year omo ntumi ambo mi wo kwa bia so anya akra na de na ma na akra na afi me de me bibia be manyame. In fact, here ye ni bina ye hwe ye ni ma bi no no ye ko hospital omo titin ye papa. In fact, me anya me ko wo kolobu no ntumi nka me ba small boy amene no kwa ye suma no kolobu a ma ne pobo do kwa kra sey na ne nadefo enti ne ameka ne se eye na se hia ye ni bi ni ye ko hospital eya mo want titin ye sa na bibi ni nsu na tunya wo mana ga na ban hu bibia mu na mbo ayo de bobo ayo no ofa mo ayi
Rawlings kumi a oye dwumeni e wa Lady of Grace Hospital West kumani adom kase nkomo bomu no wodi nsusunye bi to abanim se ebeya nkommo futu bi nto wo se de ebeya woni a wonsem ni bi no se wokwate bi ati se mu a wodi abonchi dom
abofra wonni bi ne maame ne papa ni bi won mom no wokoyen hospital kase mu a no krunyem no wotos won ba ko kobra sana enam se sika enhede ni won hunti na bon se won ma no wefim senia eyemba Esther de eba ya no because enka hu se Esther ye obi anka wo sika anka nya bi anka abofra no onfim nti mesre se yemman mu ade se omanpanyin na aboafo ne minister betimi atake into consideration vulnerables na wo hwa wo maame no won papa ne nya bi na wodon won reference anaso wo refer won call bi akolebu konfanoche anase bi hospital kase mu no e be stress ama aban ne be yi sika tubimpo e de ato na nkomunihia anase mfitiase na betimi ahwe samofra no na nkowonya ahwahwe na because ye nim daache yim se bi anka start ase anka bi anko betimi aye onipa titu abrabo na nso Inam se kwana brent no. They say ye ahwe Esther.
Maame Abraham nsima efa akonya no so atutwusro manfo nyinaa se wo mo ano esan sesei de obedi kura dene.
Gana fuso omumu isi amini obi a betwamani amini obi a meni dana so sisi amini adwuma sisi afiti tama me bane start yede mini obi adofo na wabo me abedu sata makra na afim sisi ametumani nso a mini obi a isi oni ntimate na fie for 1 year nko ba bia me ana me fidi ne ye ne bibia timesle
sa wo busiafo ye nyina ya kwa akohwe ye course na reho a eye na tete na hometi a eye nti obia betimi a drop comments a wo bia de ato ye comment section hono na ye benya mre na ya respond obi bia na ya koso anso asre doctors for Ghana doctors mo ya de mo ye expert pa nso ya mo fanti mo bro enye adwuma fi se de ato obi no ebetimi ato obi a eno nso so da nchen a yebesra ye mampanini nso so se no kwasem niye omanu mu apomudene ehu hia niema sese ko hospitals department ni nyina wo Ghana memu nyina no ye gidi se abande niema totona kwamu a wo munya equipment and the facilities any PPE ahodo a wo mo ehia ni nyina ebema wo mo so anya ni je ni akomapa e de aye omo adwuma no na ama omanma no so anya ahoto de medi twa to okra nso so no e wo me fem ene se obi wo situation bi so ate se mo ene fm bebre abu e wo Ghana ya manfo ekokopemwa enye se bo mi kuna bo menko na me fie ora tu menko na me ba school fees nko ada bi ukuta akwala ya ogina wo ni nkwankwa nta na se wunni ni da so bia mi kosungu fm stations fo ni bi so na wo mo emodawro nkwachiri na nyankopon dom ne abrochefo adawroma ebetimi ama emo bi firi baabi aba na wo so watumi age onipa no nkwa ewrade onhya ye nyina na wo hu ye mobo na omo ye nkwa ho ba ma ye da munyina mase obia enhwe ne ho so yie enkanka ewo sa pandemic yi ho sa mri obia hwe ne ho so yie papafo ene adahyeman ma sɛdeɛ nyina enim dada no trending videos ya na yɛde deɛ ɛkɔ nyina ɛbrɛmo na yɛ nyina yɛ ne tua papa Jane deɛ esiye ene deɛ to no na agya awurade adom ene yɛ mampani ne yɛ mpanimfo adawroma egusuani adɔfo ɛmoa yakwa akɔpɛ papa kora bre na during the funeral service no na ne burial no mu no nsɛm a epiepie ɛna yɛpɛsɛ yɛde ɛbrɛmo ya ɛnoa na egusu ya trending papa J action man no kwasem ni na enya ade a ɛda fam papa efirimra wode ba ye ne maye mu no beye bom ne nipa susu na nso yehunu bi pa ebetimi aka bia di ho adanse ebinum de o ma ehunu ho hwe na sese de esan de ba no ane de trend no ma yehunu the type of person he was a warrior in fact papa J obomodene enti ebusuafo momiamo anini enkwankwa hwe nia ekoso ewo papa Jane na yie no mu anase ni funeral service no mu not the service per se say ebi asore dan no mu na mo yanka se na yie no mu no enum no eniema ekokoso ya trend sesei ewo man Ghana agi baabia na yenso yede ebremo yada mase bebre momiamo ani ne enkohwe de ekoso
military, and it's a difficult time for Ghanaians who had known Fred Lieutenant Rawlings and had loved him all this while. And when his death was announced, we all saw how broken-hearted people were, and we thought it was a distance, but now it's too close, because after his passing, now we are getting closer to 27th. And we know by the 27th of January 2021, the mortal remains will be sent to the cemetery. And then we would now see him as he's finished his job, he's finished his work. But we know that's one of the things, say it's what? He still lives on. the ideologies, the thinkings, and the practical situations that he gave to Ghana would continue to live with us. And it is now, it's part of our life that as people of this country, we should learn to do it. Now, looking at the file pass, one important instrument is what is there. Now, almost everybody is supposed to get, you sanitize your hand with your face, you have your face mask, you sanitize your hand, and then we're supposed to wash. These are practical situations that in our normal lives we were not used to doing. But if you really want to practice hygiene, you know that in your homes you have to wash your hand. You don't have to eat with a dirty hand. You can't just come from the washroom without washing your hand. But it got to a time that we had forgotten about it until COVID came. Now COVID has changed the picture. COVID is taking us back to our basics, letting us respect the values that we're supposed to respect. And we hope and pray. I, for example, hope and pray that even if COVID is gone, this practice will live with us, so that we would not teach our children the better way of doing them. I don't think that it will be wrong with COVID is gone for us to forget about sanitizers, because bacterials and virals and germs exist. So if we still sanitize our hand, if we should ensure that we would enforce, and then the individuals would be part of the system. You don't only just wash your hand, but you would also have to spend a few pesos to sanitize your hand. Sometimes when I sit and I hear people talk about, he said, please, where is your mask? He said, I can't afford it. Why can't you afford it? If you should be attacked by COVID right now, the amount of money
these are the values they stood for: independence, liberty, or death, that kind of thing. So we've got to bring it down to the school level. So it grows up in the children. It becomes as easy as ABC.
Captain Akaku, we are almost moving to the second part of the day, and very soon the day would end, and then the next day would be the day before the burial. Then it means that we are going to put the former president to rest. Look at the beautiful production the military had put together here. Very beautiful one, even though we arranged and done very well. And I know it's painstaking. You have taken time to achieve those results. When you were growing up and you were going to go into the military, did you imagine that you were going to be one part of a show like this one? That your time as a military officer, you saw.
These are beautiful aerial shots, you know. I wonder what was happening in the days before drones. You know, this is just a nice shot.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes.
The days we don't drones, we're climbing. When you go to a community and you look for the tallest building,
And then you climb on it.
Yes,
Yeah,
we climb. So those times the cameramen,
They were athletes.
John Passer and others, we will go on assignment and we need to establish the community.
Yeah.
So you see at the tallest building, then you go and knock, then you have permission. That we want to go to the top of your roof to go and take pictures. And it was just, they would allow you.
So they were like stuntmen.
Yeah.
Climbing all these tall
Yeah,
buildings.
as a cameraman. He will ask you, who was your cameraman? When you mention it, so is that the pictures you can provide? So
And now-
if it has to do with anything, any height you see,
You take it.
climb.
Yes. And now, thanks to technology, we get the aerial
technology.
shots. And it's great because Professor Rawlings was a pilot. So these aerial shots are nice and symbolic.
Exactly.
Gives you a nice view of.
Yes, it makes works easier and faster. And unfortunately, people are taking advantage of the way it is easy and fast, and rather doing shoddy work.
And so we have the vehicles of some of the commanders entering the cemetery And that is the honorary flyover by the Ghana Air Force.
The president is arriving at the cemetery. I think there was communication, so immediately you know when the casket was approaching the cemetery. The president informed, and now the president is at the cemetery. So His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and wife, Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, at the cemetery to take part in the burial of Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. In the President's tribute, he recognized the support he had gotten from the former President. And he was so candid that he said at the beginning it wasn't a very smooth relationship at all. But later on, they found value in each other. And since they value, they had worked together.
So in your shot is the new presidential section created at the military cemetery. So this is a newly created section of the cemetery.
I wonder how long they took to do this, because this is just beautiful. I mean, I've been there recently. It wasn't like this. You know, this is just a testament to serious organization and hard work and working according to schedules.
Yes.
It looks really, really beautiful.
And there's no excuse that to say it's not possible.
No.
The word impossible is not allowed.
At all.
Yes, it has to be done.
It has to
If
be
it
done.
means staying throughout the night, another team continuing, it has to be done.
Complete
And that
the
is the
mission.
determination, the seriousness we need as a people.
Complete the mission.
Complete the mission, no excuse.
The military would tell you dare not fail.
No, you can't.
When you hear you dare not fail, then you know when you fail there are consequences. And the consequences can be very serious.
And so for those of you who haven't been to the military cemetery before, the way they line up the graves is just a picture of, it's almost as if the graves are actually on parade, because they are all in straight lines, and you can identify the particular grave by the date the person died or the date the person was buried. So it's very easy for you to find the remains or the grave of your loved one. There's no stumbling around. Everything is in order, you know, perfect order.
So the gun carriage is now in our shots once again, and the commander of the gun carriage is Lieutenant Jones Amoakun. He is assisted by Warrant Officer Class 1 George Mate, the Battery Sergeant Major. And so here you can also see the route lining as well. And the moment the casket is getting close to where they are, they all present arms to pay compliments.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
see the quack bikes leading. And these are 64 vehicles from 64 infantry regiments. And the casket on the gun carriage. And the gun carriage is reserved for only high-profile personalities. And like I said earlier on, in the Ghana Armed Forces, it's reserved for only generals and above. And interestingly, the gun carriage is also a piece of artillery. Pieces of artillery, just like artillery is also used for the 21-gun salutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that is the presidential section of the military cemetery.
So very shortly, the second part of today's activities will commence at the military cemetery. It's a beautiful shot. Yeah. It's a really beautiful shot. Yes, very solemn and very moving.
And you have the cavalry, and so they are going to start the procession once again, just like it started from the Black Star Square.
So they're going to slow it down again.
Yes,
okay.
They're going to start the procession once again, and then enter the cemetery with it.
I was wondering where the horses were. So were they galloping?
Oh yes.
Even the riderless one. I'm sure the riderless one will achieve it.
Oh yes.
Will acquire a rider, and then when they get here, he'll get off.
No.
It was still.
No, it was still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was still moving.
All right.
And so here you can see the route line is still even into the cemetery. And those were naval personnel.
You gave a very beautiful description of the position that the soldiers assume with their heads bowed and the rifle turned downwards.
Yes.
As a mark of respect.
Respect and mourning. Normally when you are mourning, it's not time to fight. So you reverse your weapon.
Okay.
You turn it upside down. And then in a solemn mood. So you look downwards with your arm rested on the weapon. And then throughout the first 2 days, the Kaltafar Guard also did same. If you took note, they did same. So that is funeral drills. It's more solemn and quiet as opposed to the brisk one that you normally see on a parade.
It's very moving how the people on the left side of the road have all parked, and they are watching the procession move slowly past them. You know.
I think now that the casket is approaching the cemetery, you would see the military officers, that the CDS and co, they've all moved, they've gotten up, they are moving to take positions to receive and pay due respect to the former Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Force.
So they presented arms. It's a form of compliment or greeting to a very senior officer. Arms are not presented to every officer in the armed forces. You have to be a senior officer. So they presented them. That is, they are paying compliment to their former commander-in-chief. And you can see that from the beginning till now, you've seen Army, you've seen Air Force, you've seen Navy. It is these three services that compose the Ghana Armed Forces or the military. So when you mention military of any country, you're talking about these three services. It's one and the same.
Yo, abusuafo ne adehyeman ye nyina ya nichio yakwa akohwe ehudi wo mu ye damase comment bia wo no wadawroma ye comment section ho fato ho maye na ye be digest ne baako ye be breaking down everybody nka mo nyina mo ho ye pa acho mo subscribe maye mo share maye na mo like it dem di twa to pozoledi wadawroma mo maye mo ye ho ban pa na ya rie eda so ne nam ya rie no kwasebini e chen said ye nipa enim no na be nipa pa sen said ye de yesusu ana yedwene modawroma ewrade gusu boye ho ban okuta ye mu yie de na nso moma ye mia ye ne anso ye mia ye ho wama ya adwene nyansa ye mfa ne mantutu akwemu said ye be ya ye betumi aboye ho ban ne save NHS nyame onhya obibia no maninsi ye nyina yie Oboso TV yakramo